Hello everyone, it's EzraTime again here. Welcome back to another movie review, or I guess a TV series review, because we are going to be reviewing a TV series called The Continental from the World of John Wick. Now, this TV series was released in September, and honestly, I don't hear a lot of people talking about it, to be honest, which is kind of surprising to me because I was kind of looking forward to The Continental, because before John Wick Chapter 4 came out, but after that movie ends, I feel like I'm just like, okay, well, I mean, the TV series is here, but I'm not that hyped to watch it, to be honest, even though I was waiting for it back in the day. But now I'm just like, all right, okay, cool, And it seems like after it's released, not a lot of people are talking about it, which is like, wow, okay. Is it bad then? Right? That's my question. But I decided to give it a watch, because I mean I do love John Wick, so maybe this could be a good series, maybe. And after watching it, I gotta say it was okay. It was alright. It's not the worst TV series ever, but it certainly could be a lot better, dude. And it does feels like, yeah, this is from the world of John Wick, but at the same time, in terms of the fight scene, it doesn't feel like the world from John Wick, to be honest. Which I'm gonna get to that later. So as usual, I'm gonna talk about the positive stuff about the TV series that I like, and then we're gonna get to the negative part about the series. And trust me, man, there is some stuff that I want to say about this series right here, and to see how it's gonna go forward, because I think certainly they're going to be making more of this spin-off in the future. So in the Continental, we are following a character, Winston Scott, played by Colin Woodnell, and obviously, we know Winston from the main series. He's the manager of the Continental Hotel, and this is gonna be his origin story, and that's why we also got like Sharon, right, played by Ayomide Adegun, which I think does a great job, because Lance Reddick, the late Lance Reddick, also does a great job portraying Charon's character. That you kind of tell that Winston and Charon has some history together in the John Wick movies. So that is certainly the best part about the show, seeing these two interacting with one another, in their younger age, you could say that. And yeah, so in the story itself, we find out that Winston actually has a brother, Frankie, and apparently Frankie betrayed the current Continental manager, named Cormac O'Connor, played by Mel Gibson, because he stole like one of the coin making machine, you could say that, and that's why Cormac is like trying to hunt down Frankie, and that's why Winston was brought back from London to New York, because Cormac needs him to find his brother, and that's how the story pretty much unfold, and I think there's gonna be a bit of a spoilers in this review, because I think I want to go a bit deeper into the story, what I like and what I don't like, so if you guys haven't watched the TV series, then maybe skip this review, because again, I think it's an alright TV series, as a John Wick series. It's like okay, but it could have been way better. So there you go. So for the story itself, we see that Winston obviously tried to find Frankie, and we found out that back in the past, Frankie and Winston does something in 1955, because they are burning someone's house, and it was ordered by Cormac, and that eventually lead to something else in this current storyline, which I did not like, but again, we're gonna get to that later when I talk about the negative stuff, for before the positive stuff, I think in terms of the performance, I like Mel Gibson. I think he's the best performance in this series, to be honest, because watching Mel Gibson went crazy, especially in episode 3, was actually really really fun to watch, like he's like sniffing drug or something, and then like he just went insane. Like I love that so much, and he's a bit, sometimes he's funny as well, where he tried to escape the hotel, and then suddenly he's like, yeah, like take that, Winston and Charon, I got you, and then suddenly like it's like, wait, where am I? Like, oh dude, it's your own hotel, and then he just lost in his own hotel, which is like, wow, okay. But it's funny, because I think Mel Gibson's performance is just perfect in my opinion. But I also do like in a Colin Woodell performance, I think some similar performance with Ian McShane at some point, but not entirely, because this is obviously a different Winston. Like he was younger and he doesn't necessarily want to be involved in this underworld, but eventually, because again, he got basically got dragged into the situation in the first place, and then eventually him to become the manager of the Continental Hotel, and again, like I said before, I like the performance by the young Charon, Ayumide Adegun. I think he does a great job portraying the young version of the character, because you can tell it's the same character. And I do think that he probably portrayed Charon way better than Colin does as Winston, because you kind of get the idea of like Winston being like, the kind of guy who's like the manager, who's like controlling things by using his word, which is what he does in the John Wick movies. He's not exactly a fighter, which is clearly displayed in this TV series, which is kind of suck in my opinion. But at the same time, he's kind of in line with this character that he can't exactly fight. He's using his mouth and his brain. That's like his strongest weapon there. And yeah, I think pretty much everyone in this series does their best job to perform the characters. I think it was a good enough performance by everybody, but I do think Mel Gibson is like a standout to me. That he just like, yeah, he's giving it all, the man. He's crazy, but he's also funny at the same time. So yeah, he's great. I think he's the best performance in the series, in my opinion. I guess the other positive stuff is like we get to see Winston and Charon in this TV series, because again we all know that these two has some history together with the John Wick movies, right? And it's nice to see the two of them like interacting with one another, especially in the episode 1 where we see the two of them interact for the first time, and I kind of get a goosebump, where I was like, oh, it's Winston and Charon, they interacting with one another for the first time ever. I think that was really cool to see. And it's also really cool to see they are becoming brothers in the end, and obviously if we all see John Wick Chapter 4, we all know what happened tragically to Charon, right? And Winston obviously put the word friend in his gravestone, because that's what Charon is above all else. And I think this TV series makes me really sad that Charon got killed in Chapter 4, man. It really does, because they do feel like brothers here in the TV series. So I think that's another positive stuff, And the next one, I guess I want to talk about obviously the action sequence, because it's a John Wick TV series, so, and how is the action, and I would say it was fine. And the thing is that he has a bunch of people shooting, which is what John Wick does in the movie, but at the same time, here's the thing, in John Wick, it was played by Keanu Reeves, and obviously we all know that Keanu Reeves is like training his ass off to portray this character, to portray some of the martial arts movement, and obviously some of the gun fu movement, and in this TV series, it doesn't feel as organic when the action is happening. It kind of feels boring because for the most part, it's just people shooting each other like rapidly, which is again, that's what happened in the movie, sure, but at the same time, they managed to balance that out, by being creative with the action, like sometimes John Wick using nunchucks, sometimes he used like sword, maybe like some katana, and we also see different martial artists at the same time, and I guess in this one they do different, I guess show some different martial arts in a way, but at the same time it wasn't that exciting to begin with because the fight is too quick in my opinion. They doesn't necessarily stay or like I don't know, it doesn't stay for too long, which is kind of sad to be honest, and I know there's like people criticism for the John Wick Chapter 4 that the action is goes on for too long, but at the same time, like that makes us appreciate the action a bit more, because they are being creative with the action. And in this one, for the most part, the action is just like a bunch of people shooting each other, which just wasn't as exciting, and sometimes it's confusing that determining like who's who, like on one hand you got the, oh yeah, another character that I forgot to mention is that there is the Bowery organization, which obviously related to the Bowery King by Lawrence Fishburne in the movie, but in this one the Bowery has a different leader, a woman for the Bowery King leader, and I think it's a good idea to see the Bowery before the event of John Wick Chapter 2, seeing that how big the organization was, and then to see how it finally rise to the prominence in a way. I think that's really, really nice, is because we all know that Winston and the Bowery has some connection, in John Wick Chapter 4, so it's nice to see them like working together in this movie. I'm not saying that Lawrence Fishburne appeared in the TV series, no, but it was the leader was played by a different actress, and it's like, yeah, it's really fun to see that. But yeah, like I said before, that we see the Bowery basically helping Winston and Charon try to take over the Continental Hotel from Cormac, and then when the action is happening, you are kind of confused at who's who because like they all seems the same. They're all like wearing black clothes. So I'm just like, well, I don't know who's man. It's just like it's so confusing at times. And again, it wasn't that exciting because we all seen this action before in the Continental Hotel with John Wick Chapter 3 and Chapter 4, which again, those movie has way more creativity with the action in a way. And in this one, it's just like again, just a bunch of people shooting each other, and then we get to see some martial arts in a way, which is fun, but it's just like it's okay. Like it doesn't like it didn't impress me in a way, and it's like yeah, that kind of sucks, man, because this is like a John Wick TV series, so I'm expecting more, and maybe because they're hiring like a bunch of actor and actress who's probably not well known, which is fine. but it's like are these people known to as a martial artist, because I think that's like the main draw for the John Wick movies, because especially chapter 4, you got Donnie Yen, you got Hiroyuki Sanada, you got Scott Atkins. So like there's a bunch of people who are familiar, and Marco Zauer, by the way, who also an expert martial artist and stuntman. So there is a bunch of people who are well known that got invited to this movie, and that's like the main draw, at least for me. And in this one, like it seems like the actors and actresses are like, trying to perform their own stunt, which is fine, I respect them for that. But at the same time, it didn't feel as exciting or as organic, like the fight scene is just like too quick at times. Like there is this one character that knows martial arts named Lo Burton, played by Jessica Alline. I think she does their best for the martial arts sequences, in my opinion, but I feel like it wasn't as exciting, in my opinion. It was like, okay, cool, there's a bunch of punches and there is no creativity in it. It's just like punches and kick and then that's it, and I know that's what martial arts is, but I feel like sometimes they are staying for a bit longer, because the opponents are tough, and the opponent they are facing, Hansel and Gretel, was a tough opponent, which is fine, which is fun as well. But at the same time, like I feel like it was too quick, in my opinion. But again, this is me, because I'm too used to for like the longer action in John Wick movies, and now like the action is like over so quickly. I'm just like, oh, okay, that's over, Which is why, yeah, action wise is fine, it's not terrible, like you can clearly see the action, but it wasn't as exciting, and it wasn't as, you don't feel the adrenaline rush, in my opinion, because something in John Wick chapter 3 and 4, you kind of feel like the adrenaline rush, when you are watching John Wick like murdering all of these people, at least I do. But in a TV series, just like, okay, all right, cool, I guess. So yeah, it's kind of like a mixed feeling for me for the action, and also like one other positive thing that I want to talk about is obviously this TV series took place in the 70s, and after the Vietnam War. And my God, you are definitely feeling the 70s aspect or like atmosphere in the entire show. And I think that's like the best part about the show, that it was set in the 1970s, and especially in New York, because I heard that New York back in the day was a very, very dangerous place, was a very dirty city as well. Um, and yeah, they are basically portraying the 70s New York as super dirty, like the dirty alleyway of New York City. And you see just you just see this character like walking like to like one location to another location, and just to see how dirty the city was, and how dangerous the environment was. And on top of that, you got a bunch of assassins, on the street. And it's just like a great atmosphere for the show, and I really, really love that. It kind of feels like Gotham in a way, but at the same time, that's what New York is, back in the day. So like, yeah, I think that they did a great job for recreating the 1970s New York City. I think that's like the best setting for the TV series. But sadly, that's the best part, and but sadly, I feel like they didn't really deliver that in terms of the action and I guess the character, like the characters aren't terrible, but they're nothing special in my opinion, so it's like, all right, cool. I guess Winston and Scott is probably like Winston and Charon is probably the only one that I'm just like rooting for. And obviously Mel Gibson as Cormac is also one character that I'm just like, okay, it's interesting to see that and fun, but that's just because it's Mel Gibson, and that's it, But yeah, for the negative part about this show, speaking of characters, like I said before, there is this one character that's just like, it feels like they just inserted this character and felt unnecessary. Named KD, played by Michelle Prada, I think she does the best job for her character, but at the same time, I feel like her character is unnecessary because, again, spoilers, because back in the day, Winston and Frankie, they both burned a house before because Cormac ordered them to do that. And eventually they found out there is a family living there, so they burned their family or like killed the family. And eventually it was revealed like Katie is like looking for Frankie for whatever reason, right? And then the reason was revealed in the episode 3, where apparently he's like the daughter in that flashback, even though we never see the family, but it was revealed that he was actually the daughter in that flashback, and then that's why she's like looking for Frankie and Winston to kill them to take revenge, And I feel like it was like super, super fortunate because for the entire series, you only care for Winston to basically becoming Winston Scott from the John Wick series, and that's why the most exciting story aspect of this TV series, seeing Winston becoming more and more serious, wanting to kill Cormac, because Cormac killed his brother in episode 1, and that's like kind of like drive him to become this, that wants to take down Cormac and the Continental at the same time, and that was exciting, because we are seeing the origin of Winston Scott, which I think is great. So when the story like shift back to KD, it felt out of place, because I'm just like, oh yeah, I remember you were a character in this one. What is your purpose again? Why are you here? Why should I care? Because they keep this a mystery until episode 3. And even after the reveal, I'm just like, okay, that feels forced. It was unneeded because I feel like Winston already regret what he does in 1955. And I'm just like, I don't think we need to see like a character, like an actual character from that flashback, which we never saw before, by the way. And it suddenly was revealed that, oh yeah, I'm the kid from the past, like you burned my family, so I'm here to take revenge on you. I'm just like, dude, this is unnecessary. Like, I don't care, because I feel like Winston already felt bad enough, and I think that's enough for his character arc, at least in my opinion. We don't need to see an actual character from the flashback, unseen, by the way, and then just return in this present day without any clues or who or what she is until episode 3. And even then it just felt pointless in my opinion. It was unnecessary, that I feel like she's just there for, I don't know, like, oh, this is the consequences for Winston action, which is like, that's what she is there for. But I feel like it's unnecessary because like here's Winston trying to basically redeem himself by killing Cormac, because Cormac is like controlling everybody in New York City, and that's what he was doing. So I feel like that's an enough and interesting story to tell already, and that was like the most engaging story. Obviously, that's like the main story, and this one with KD is just like a subplot for the TV series. So every single time you cut back to her, you probably forget her character exists, because I would say she has the least amount of screen time among all the other characters, because she's not that important, to be honest. Like they try to make her important, but in the end, just like, well, you are unnecessary. I feel like this series will be much better if this character doesn't exist, and then we can focus solely on Winston, clearly regretting his action already. So I think there's that, and then try to take over the Continental. I feel like that's what the main focus should have been, and it is. But at the same time, they cut back to Katie and just like, well, okay, like this is no, this is not interesting, at least for me. So yeah, there's that. And also, I would say that the final fight, relating to the characters, because we see the final fight between Winston and Cormac, and I was like, okay, we see Mel Gibson punching some faces, which is cool. And I was like, okay, we're gonna get the final fight between the two of them. And then Katie just showed up out of nowhere, by the way, and then just completely shoot Cormac to death. And I'm just like, well, that was disappointing because I was expecting to see Winston actually take out Cormac, because that's what his character journey has been, trying to take revenge on Cormac for killing his brother, for ruining his life, for dragging like his ass back to New York City, for this entire situation to begin with, and I was like, okay, I thought Winston's gonna take revenge to Cormac, and I guess technically he did, but I was expecting him to actually put like the final bullet to Cormac's head, and actually be the one who kills Cormac. And that was I was expecting, and then like Katie just appeared out of nowhere and actually finished Cormac, and I'm just like, well, that was disappointing. There is a reason why she did it, because obviously she found out that Cormac is the one who ordered Winston and Frankie to burn her family's house, But at the same time, I'm just like, this is unnecessary, and I feel like Winston just like Winston barely kills anyone in this TV series, by the way. Which I think, like I said before, it was in line with his character that he barely kills anyone, because for the most part, Winston is just like the kind of guy who uses his brain and his mouth to basically get him out of the situation instead of like using guns, which is fine. But at the same time, seeing like the younger Winston Scott, I want to see him like actually kill some people, and I guess technically he did sometimes, but I feel like for the most part he just like get his ass beaten every single time, even by Mel Gibson in the end. And I was expecting him to like get up and then like finally beat him to death or something like that, but no, Katie just appear and then just shoot him dead, which is disappointing for me, because I feel like Winston should be the one who kills Cormac, because he's the one that basically planning everything. So I feel like he's the one to deserve to put the final bullet in his head, in my opinion at least. There are several characters that I like, I think Lemmy is good. Gene Jenkins, played by Ryan McKinnon, also great. I think Gene might be my best character in this series, because he's just so lovable in my opinion, even though he was an assassin, But speaking of Lemmy, there's this weird scene with his character in the end where a character named Hansel basically sent a grenade to like the pipe thing, right? And then sent a grenade to Lemmy, and as Lemmy saw the grenade, and instead of like running away or at least like try to run away, he just like sigh and then accept his fate. And I'm just like, dude, what are you doing? That grenade, like, you got a couple of seconds to run away from that grenade, or at least like try to run away. You might survive, you never know. And then for some reason he just like stay and accept that, yeah, I'm dead. I'm like, dude, what? try to run away. You got a couple of seconds head start. You know, I know that's not much, but at least try to run away, man. Maybe you're gonna be survive that grenade, you know. But no, he just sit there and take his grenade, I guess, you know, to the face, you know. And it's like, all right, that's kind of weird. But yeah, one characters, the adjudicator also appear in this TV series played by Candy McGran. And there's a cool twist in the end where I thought that this is like the same adjudicator from John Wick Chapter 3, but apparently no, this is like a different adjudicator. Because Winston killed the adjudicator in episode 3, in the final episode, you know. And that surprised me, you know, because I realized that, oh, this is a different adjudicator. And eventually, because she's wearing this mask every single time, and we finally get the reveal in the end that how her face looked like, you know. And I was like, oh, that's gruesome, you know. I kind of like it, you know. It was gruesome, you know. And I was like, oh, okay, that's quite surprising, you know. And I think that's kind of like the way for Winston to become the manager of the Continental Hotel, because maybe the high table see the potential in him, obviously. So there is that, right? Yeah, I think also this series has a lot of song. At one point that they play one song that is like the to be continue meme song, you know. I think it's from JoJo as well, if I'm not mistaken. Like when they play that song, I'm just like, wait, am I hearing this song right? And I'm just like, oh, it's the to be continue meme song that was playing this TV series. So that's fun. But yeah, I think that people might find some problem that this series has too many songs, I think. And I think the song was from the 70s, obviously. So there is that. And I personally was fine by it, you know. But at the same time, I noticing that, man, there is a lot of song in this TV series, man. Like how many songs are you licensing for this TV series, you know? Maybe that's where the most of the budget went through, this licensing song left and right, you know, because there is so many songs throughout the 3 episodes, and I'm just like, oh, okay, like, all right, we're still doing more songs, I guess. But either way, guys, that's my review for the Continental from the World of John Wick. You know, it's certainly not a bad TV series, but it could have been way better. You know, because I feel like the action wasn't really there. There is just a bunch of shooting, and there is some martial arts as well, but they weren't as creative. You know, and then it wasn't as adrenaline rush like in the John Wick Chapter 3 and 4. You know, like you wouldn't feel like you did. I didn't feel excited when I watched the action. I was like, okay, cool. Like we've seen this before in the John Wick movies, you know. I was expecting a bit more in terms of the action. I was expecting to see the character taking a bunch of people down, and I guess we did see that, but not really at the same time, because like they kind of like show one scene and then like move on. That's it, you know. And I was just like, okay, well, that was not that exciting, at least in my opinion. So there's that. And yeah, the character itself, like none of them are memorable, you know. I guess Winston and Charon is the two characters obviously you care about, because yeah, like you know this character from the movies, you know. And then I guess Mel Gibson, Cormac O'Connor, is also like it's a good character, I guess. I mean, he's the main bad guy for sure, but I feel like Mel Gibson really elevates that character with his performance, at least in my opinion. So there's that, you know. So yeah, for the rest of the character, like I think I like Jean. But besides him, I don't really care for a lot of them, you know. Especially KD's character felt unnecessary and felt like tack on for the movie. Like just like, okay, sorry, for the series, you know. So just like, okay, the characters weren't that memorable to begin with. So there's that. So I think I'm gonna give this series, I guess, a 6 out of 10. You know, again, it's not the worst one, but man, it could have been way better. There's so many misses for this TV series, man. So that's why I think a lot of people are just not talking about it, because like I don't know what you're gonna talk about this, you know. Because they weren't that exciting to begin with, you know. So I think for the future for the Continental series, I think they're gonna do more of this. I am hoping we get to see maybe the younger version of John Wick, maybe played by another actor besides Keanu Reeves. And I know that this is like a horrible idea, but I would love to see if they can cast someone that looks like the 90s Keanu Reeves, you know, like from The Matrix and stuff like that. Like maybe they could get some similar actor that looks like that. Who knows? But either way, you know, I'm hoping we get to see Kane, you know, Donnie's character, and also Koji Hiroki's another character maybe in the future TV series, you know. And I know that Chad Stahelski really wanted to develop various spin-off, you know, that basically explore like the different variation of culture, you know, like France, Italy, Russia, Indonesian, Chinese, and stuff like that. And I think that he even mentioned that he wants Jet Li and Jackie Chan to be involved in the franchise. Like, please do that. I would love to see Jackie Chan or even Jet Li to be involved in the John Wick, you know, franchise, you know, because I think they are going to nail his role. But I guess we'll see, man. I mean, we got this TV series, which is fine, but I feel like if you got Jackie Chan, then you have to make him do some martial arts stuff, you have to do that, because he's not gonna be using guns the entire time, And again, it wasn't confirmed. It's just like a wish list of Chad Stahelski, that he wanted to see this many actor in the franchise. Which he mentioned Cillian Murphy, Robert Downey Jr., and then you got Jason Momoa there, and then Jackie Chan and Jet Li. So there is that. He didn't mention Iko Uwais, which is kind of make me sad because I feel like Iko Uwais deserve to be in a John Wick franchise. But you got Yayan Ruhian and Cecep Arif Rahman in Chapter 3. So I feel like you should at least cast Iko Uwais to representing the Indonesian high table or something like that, because you want to see the Indonesian culture in the John Wick franchise. So I think that's a good idea to bring Iko Uwais to be your main character. And I'm really hoping they do that because it's been a while since we get like a good Iko Uwais movie. The last one is like the Night Come For Us, and it was an Indonesian movie. And so far Iko Uwais on the Hollywood is just like, all right, like if you guys see Expendable 4, it's probably the worst movie ever this year. I know when I reviewed that movie, I was like, oh, I kind of like it, but I'm just like, well, it's kind of like the worst movie. What, rewatching it, because Iko Uwais barely does anything in that movie. So I'm really hoping that they can cast him in like the future installment for John Wick or like the TV series, Make a TV series and cast Iko Uwais as the main protagonist. I would love to see that, and then maybe shoot the series in Indonesian. I think that would be really, really cool to see that because Chad Stahelski are interested on the Indonesian culture, and I mean he interested on many culture from many countries, which is fine. But I'm really hoping he does that because I think Iko Uwais deserves to be like the big star for action, and to finally receive like a proper movie for him, because the Raid was good, but I feel like that's it for him. So hopefully he can appear in the future. Hopefully Jackie Chan could also appear maybe in the future along with Jet Li. Who knows? But yeah, and he also mentioned Chris Hemsworth, but I'm just like, well, we got Extraction. I think Extraction is like the new John Wick in my opinion. So like, there's that. Yeah, so either way, I'm still I don't know, I have a mixed feeling for the John Wick franchise, because I feel like seeing the TV series that it wasn't that great made me kind of worried that to see where the future of the series goes. But at the same time, I would love to see them like encountering different characters, like maybe make a completely new characters from the John Wick franchise and then explore that different culture, because again, I personally want to see the Indonesian culture because it's my culture, and hopefully they can cast Iko Uwais as the main protagonist. I think if you do that, people will watch the TV series. I think people will care a lot more about the TV series if you do that. At least in my opinion. Also cast Jackie Chan as well. I think that would be really cool. So yeah, who knows? Maybe they're gonna do that, because certainly the John Wick franchise is far from ending. I think that's gonna be it for the John Wick character itself for Keanu Reeves, which is kind of make me sad. But I feel like, well, everything has to come for an end, So at least they ended in a good note, in my opinion. So I guess we'll see where the future of the franchise goes. There is a fifth John Wick movie, which is kind of like surprising to me. I'm just like, what's gonna be the story, man? I feel like you should just leave it at chapter 4, at least in my opinion. But hey, what are you gonna do when something makes money? You're gonna want to make more of it, So who knows? If Keanu Reeves return, then well, yeah, I'll watch it, I guess. But anyway, guys, that's my review for the Continental of From the World of John Wick. So let me know in the comment section below if you guys already watched the TV series. What do you guys think about the TV series itself? Do you guys like it or do you guys did not like it? And if you guys haven't watched the TV series, are you guys interested to watch it now? Are you guys interested to see where the John Wick franchise go without John Wick? Without Keanu Reeves? Is that exciting for you? Because I'm open-minded, but I feel like yeah, it probably wasn't that exciting with Keanu Reeves. So let me know about that in the comment section below. And well, what do you guys think about casting Iko Uwais in the future John Wick franchise? Because I feel like I would love to see that personally. So let me know in the comment section below, guys. What do you guys think about casting Iko Uwais or even Jackie Chan in the future John Wick franchise? Like TV series. Like, do you guys excited for that, or are you just like, all right, cool, I don't need that or something like that. So yeah, guys. If you guys enjoyed this review, then make sure you guys shoot the subscribe button and the like button as well. And I guess stay tuned for more videos in the future, guys. And again, I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and I will see you guys in the next one then. Bye.